All right, everybody's ready?
Stacy.
Okay, I'll call to order the Tuesday, May 14th, 2019 regular board meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Southgate's mission statement is learning for life. The vision statement is Southgate Community Schools, the best choice for students and parents. Okay, takes us to the revision or approval of the agenda. Would anybody like to make a revision to the agenda or approve the proposed?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I have a motion to approve the presented agenda by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support. Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens who'd like to speak tonight? Don't see any. We don't have any presentations. So that takes us to the consent agenda, which consists of April 23rd, 2019 regular and closed session meeting minutes, HR update, and disbursements for April 2019. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Lamas. Okay, any discussion on consent? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Takes us to the action agenda. The first item on the action agenda is the approval of 2019 door replacement services. Rob, you presenting this to us tonight?
Yes, sir.
I'll read the beginning and then you can go ahead, if that's okay, right?
Perfect.
All right, I would like to request that you approve the bid award for door replacements at Anderson High School, Davidson Middle School, Grogan Elementary, Shelters Elementary, and Beacon Day Treatment Center. This is a bond project. Please see the attached documents for more details. Plant Moran Cressa and the district is recommending that the contract be awarded to Ray Haven Group.
Yeah, so the package that you have in front of you is the recommendation for the buildings as Jill had mentioned. As the bond was wrapping up, we had really prioritized a few projects that we'd like to do with some of the remaining funds. One of those was the bathroom renovation at Anderson that previously been approved and is getting ready to get started. This was really one of the next priorities, was taking a look at some of your additional doors around the district and the buildings that needed to be addressed. So we had a door consultant come out, walk all of your buildings, and make a recommendation on the condition of some of the doors. So we identified those within here and really listed them as priority 1 and priority 2. Priority 1 being they don't function very well, frames are falling apart, doors are hard to open, can't get out. Priority 2 was doors that, are still functioning but are being, are in need of replacement sometime in the near future here. So we kind of tried to prioritize those, seeing how the funds come in. So the package that you have here today, we put the construction documents out for bid on April 8th. We advertised those on the state website, posted in local newspapers, and then we invited 5 firms through the consultant to look at that. So on April 24th, we'd received bids for those. We publicly opened them. Held a post-bid meeting with Ray Haven Group on April 29th, and today's recommendation from the steering committee is for a project award to Ray Haven Group in the amount of $135. Here in a second where each of the schools were, but base bid was all the priority 1 doors for $86,160. Alternate A was Anderson High School, the athletic entrance door that comes off of the main parking lot for $13,380. Alternate B was the Davidson Middle School administration entrance door on the west side of the building there for $20,500, and then alternate D was the Davidson Middle School student entrance door, just the frame replacement. The base bid had the doors being replaced, and then we did an alternate for the frame. As we looked at that, the frame was needing to be replaced, but we weren't sure how the budgets were going to hold up, so we had it broke out as an alternate, and we're looking to have that approved here today. So those 4 items make up the $123,490. I've attached the bid tab from the bids that were received. As I'd mentioned, we had posted this and advertised it and specifically invited 5 firms, 4 of which showed up to the pre-bid meeting. One of the firms on the day of the pre-bid meeting had decided to pass on the project. And then on the day before the bids were due, another company had decided not to bid, and another company we did not receive a bid from. So we only ended up receiving 2 bids, unfortunately, for the project, but we did scope out Ray Haven, feel comfortable with their pricing, with the understanding of the scope of work and everything they have included. So that's why we're making that recommendation here today. I also attached the drawings that show you where these door locations are. Probably a little hard to read if you printed out the package, but at each of the schools, you can see they're listed priority 1 and priority 2 for each of those and color-coded. So at Anderson, we have the gym doors off of the main corridor. There's 2 sets of gym doors coming in, and then the aux gym doors off the main corridor. We're all base bid, and then the alternate priority 2 door was the athletic entrance door off the parking lot. So there'd be 4 doors there at Anderson. At Davidson, there's 3 sets of doors. You have the set of entrance doors back by the receiving room on the south side of the building there. You have to the west, you have the student entrance there that comes in off the parking lot, replacing those doors. And then on the far west of the building is the, I guess it'd be your future administration entrance there on the west side with those sets of doors being replaced. At Grogan, there's 3 sets of doors. You got 2 doors off of the gym that are exit doors. Those, I think when the sun beats on those doors, you actually can't open those doors on a lot of days. You have to really put a shoulder into it. So that was a main safety concern for getting those replaced. So we noted those, and then the same with the door out of the kindergarten room. Has difficulty with the hardware and stuff and the door function of that. So we had picked up those 3 doors. There is a 4th door there on the south side of the building. The south corridor is the one alternate that we did not, or not recommending here today, just based on the budgets and the price. So that one door is still in functioning shape. It's just, it's going to need to be replaced sometime in the future, but we felt it wasn't priority enough to include in this package today. And then at Shelters, there's 2 doors exiting out of the kindergarten classrooms. And at Beacon Day, you have 2 entrances at the bus loop or the drive there. It's not the doors replaced, it's just the mullions between the doors are in rough shape. So the doors are fine, we're just going to replace the mullions, and then the door into the courtyard has been an issue with that door, I know, for a long time, and the function of the hardware sets from egressing out of the courtyard back into the building and stuff has been an issue. So that was one of the doors identified to be replaced. So that sums up the scope of the work for each of the buildings. And then I also attached Ray Haven Group's proposal, so you could see their cost breakdown on everything. This work with the lead time, we're trying to get it replaced by the start of school. We'll be pretty tight with that, but the hope is to have these installed end of August. Looked at this job, is very thorough, so he did spend a lot of time. The other company that bid it is probably one of the main door hardware companies in the area. They do a lot of work around. So both companies that submitted bid, actually of the 5 companies we invited, I mean, they were pretty much a select list of companies that the consultant deals with quite a bit. You know, we advertised it for any door companies, but we specifically picked 5 companies that we knew would be able to perform this job.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Freitas.
Yeah, I was looking at the bid from the Ray Haven Group.
Yes.
The very one, last one, Alternative D at Davidson.
Yep.
There's a $24,662 difference. That's a lot.
Yeah, I did talk that over with Ray Haven. He actually explained how that probably happened. The way, because that door is just the frame, so in the base bid, we were replacing the door and hardware, and when the supplier sent the pricing to them, they sent the base bid as one price, and they set the alternate as another complete price, and you had to subtract out the base bid to get to that. And he said if he looked at his number, the 28,000, that was the complete door frame, hardware and everything, and I think IDN messed up the bid. They didn't pull out what was already in the base bid.
That would be a lot for one frame.
Yeah. Yeah, because the door and hardware was part of base bid, so just the frame itself, 28,000 was definitely out of whack, and we were kind of questioning how that could be, and as soon as I was asking Ray Haven about it, he knew exactly. He goes, I can tell you, because I got the bid from the door supplier, and it's, close to 28,000, so that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
What is a, I'm sorry.
Sure.
What is a mullion?
Mullion is when you have a set of double doors. It'll be the bar when you're walking through that you see
okay.
when both those are open. That's the mullion between the two doors where they latch onto.
Where did these two bids come out with what you guys had originally expected as a budget?
Originally, we had set when we were walking these for the, really the priority one doors where we looked at first, we had budgeted, actually, when I looked at my notes, 80 to 100,000 for those. So base bid, I think we were 86 to 97 for the two bids. And then we added on some of the priority doors, so we really didn't budget those at that time. But when we were looking at the priority one, we had noted 80 to 100,000.
I always get a little nervous when there's only two, and I want to see what that looks like compared to what you guys had budgeted going in.
Yeah, when we sat down with the consultant and we asked him to walk the buildings without any input, because we did a lot of doors with the bond program.
Right.
So we asked him to come out and he did a survey on his own, and he came back with a marked up drawing showing these doors that are in front of us, and he really was the one that labeled them priority one or priority two. So then we sat down and started putting budgets to it and where he thought they'd come in, and we were 80 to 100,000 was our range that we were thinking they'd come in at.
Very close to what we got. so,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the money for this is out of the contingency from the original project, right?
Yep.
So that's what we're trying to work through is the contingency money
Yes. Yep, we have kind of
originally.
pulled what was left out of
What we
the
didn't need.
project that wasn't used, and it's in a contingency line item, and we appropriated funds for, the toilet room first,
Right.
and now this project, we also did the bleachers at Davidson, so those were kind of the first three priorities, and now we're kind of get through these and then see what's left, and look at the list of that parking lot. I think I had reviewed with you guys about, 6 months ago or a year ago, kind of the parking lot priority list,
Sure.
so.
Okay.
So this is where the bathroom project is coming from too? Contingency?
Out of the
fund?
contingency
Okay.
from
For the
leftover
overall
from the
project,
bonds.
for the original.
So I just
Okay.
want to remind you that the bathroom, we're using the interest
Yeah.
from the bond.
Yeah. When I reference a contingency, that's just kind of
Right.
all the remaining funds that were left for everything.
Yeah, the money we didn't spend with what we had originally planned, and
But yeah, Jill's right, we kind of appropriated when we first started doing that.
bring the discussion back to the table, and I'll entertain a motion on action item number 1.
Make a motion to approve the award for the 2019 door replacement services bid to the Ray Haven Group in the amount not to exceed $135,840.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio, supported by Mr. Estheimer. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, action item number 2, Wayne Risa General Fund Operating Budget Resolution.
So you're being asked to approve the 2019-20 Wayne Risa budget, and you'll decide which of the following to read, supported or disapproved. If you disapprove it, they would like some reasons.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring the discussion back to the table, and I'll entertain a motion on item number 2.
That's me.
Yeah.
Mr. President,
Mr. Green.
whereas this board received the Wayne Risa General Fund operating budget on or before May 1st, 2019, and whereas in accordance with Section 380.624 of the revised school code, this board must now adopt a resolution expressing its support or disapproval of the proposed Wayne Risa budget and must submit to the Wayne Risa Board any specific objections and/or proposed changes the board may have to the budget prior to June 1st, 2019. Therefore, be it resolved that the Wayne Risa General Fund operating budget for the 2019-20 school year be supported, and that the Secretary of this Board is hereby directed to submit a copy of this resolution to the Secretary of the Wayne Risa Board of Education along with comments.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Green. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Dr. Pomponio. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Action item number 3, the amendment to science curriculum adoption for Davidson Middle School.
So you have a new version of this in front of you that I added a little bit more detail to the one that you originally got in your packet. When we originally made the adoption for the Davidson Middle School Science Department online curriculum adoption, it included the purchase of 4 Chromebook carts with the plan that the teacher who was split between the math and science department, they were going to share with one of the other science teachers. And they have found this to be a pretty big struggle for them this year. There's class periods where they both would be teaching science at the same time, so sharing that cart is really not feasible. So I'd like to recommend the purchase of 1 additional Chromebook cart, which you have the attached quote, with the remaining $17,960.65 from the original $100,000 that was allocated for curriculum, technology, and science kit materials for the Davidson Middle School Science Department.
Any questions, Dr. Pomponio?
So I don't know how much you know about what we allotted for each department, athletics and everything. Is all of that still in place? You know, the money that we set aside for curriculum and for all the departments?
So we're working through to see, but we definitely have the $200,000 set aside. In fact, we've almost spent it all this year. So this is part of that. And we were so specific on the board resolution that you only approved 4 carts. I wasn't comfortable purchasing the
Right.
5th without bringing it back to you. It's still within what you approved as the total budget, but it's a shift, and I wanted to make sure that you saw that it was different.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Good.
Mr. Green?
Just so I'm clear, I'm gonna double check that we have $17,960.65 left, and we're gonna spend $12,353 on this new Chrome card. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we still have a little bit of money left. Okay, thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the plan was to use part of that money to purchase science kits.
The remaining.
Right.
Any other questions? Do we need to designate the amount that we're approving for this in the resolution? Or just designate the purchase of 1 Chromebook cart?
So the original budget included the $100,000 for the
Materials for the kits.
The materials for
We're
the...
planning to organize them in-house. So
Oh,
they're
okay.
giving a list of materials, and we're going to make those purchases.
Okay.
Create the kits.
With about 5,000 left, so, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Item number 4, the approval of the purchase of services for moving weight room equipment.
Okay. I'll read this, Mr. Dobek, and then you can go. So as per board policy 5003, all items that exceed $3,500 must be brought to the board for approval. The Crunch Gym of Ann Arbor has agreed to donate thousands of dollars of equipment to the Southgate School District. The equipment is estimated to fill 2 semi-trucks. The funds would come from the Wayne Risa millage.
Good evening. To kind of give you guys a backstory of how this actually took place, the last 2-3 years maybe, we've been looking for ways to upgrade our facilities with weight equipment, try to find different ways, and this kind of happened through conversation with a parent, Sean Sage, who is very into Southgate schools, looking always to find a better way to give our students tools necessary to be successful. And we just happened to come across this through his connections. And the gym was an Arbor Fit gym out in Ann Arbor. And at first they didn't know what they were going to do. And they decided to kind of donate all the equipment that is in the gym that is there. It's probably about 15,000 square feet of equipment. If you went into an LA Fitness, it's pretty substantial. It's everything and anything. It would be probably the premier weight facility downriver. We just have to be able to consume it into multiple areas. Ms. Pastor, myself, and Jacob from maintenance went out there to go check out the equipment. We were amazed at the condition it's in. It was actually reupholstered this past summer, not even 6 months into it before they got rid of it. It's shocking at like hitting the lotto. And I would have to say it's probably worth about $500,000 worth of equipment. And the gentleman that is donating, his name's Bill Saad, S-A-A-D. I really haven't met him yet, but, you know, he is a gentleman that eventually we'll probably all get to meet once this is all said and done. Tentatively, we're looking at May 28th as the date that the equipment has to be moved out. In that process, we're trying to figure out a way to put equipment into the field house as well as the upstairs and maybe in other rooms, because we're talking Stairmasters, ellipticals, treadmills, weight benches, pin-loaded machines, everything that is in tip-top shape that, you know, we walked out of there, it was kind of overwhelming because we didn't realize that it was actually that this was gonna come our way. And it's exciting to see this, yet, you know, it's something that as soon as Jacob and myself and Ms. Pastor were in there was no way that we could move it on our own. And for it to be covered, to be shrink wrapped, to be handled in a move of putting equipment into one semi-truck that's going to go upstairs, one semi-truck that's going to go into, you know, the field house and wherever that third truck is, because it's that we're part of the bid. Specialize were recommended through Sean Sage and even other companies that we recognize that might be able to do that, and said, you know what, we can't do this move. These are the two companies that might be able to help you guys in this move. And so that's kind of where we've come to this point. I know that it's, again, looking at money, to do it right, it has to, I would trust these two companies either way to do it, because for us to pull trucks or to pull up my pickup truck and to be able to take the equipment out of there, it's just not feasible. And it's definitely something that would be beneficial to our students. So that's pretty much it.
So you only have the one quote. The first quote came in at $15,000. So I actually reached out to Rob Kokoski and said, hey, is this a decent price? And he's informed me that there's a very local school district that's paying $13,000 to move weightlifting equipment within the same building. So we think that this is a great deal.
Okay.
Is that correct? 13,000.
It's actually a little less, but I mean,
Oh.
it's 3 different quotes, but that's in the ballpark.
Okay.
To transport that amount of equipment seems fair, reasonable.
Mr. Estheimer.
Thanks for coming and seeing us today. I had a question. So the quote that we're looking at, the $10,540 from Allied Van, so that entails them tearing the equipment apart, reassembling it on site. So they're moving it, you know, to any location we want, as directed. And is that also insured? Is that they have insurance?
There is insurance coverage in there, I do believe. I don't know exactly what was in the quote.
So if there's damage to the equipment?
Yeah, if there was damage, I can't exactly remember the amount. I do remember seeing the insurance. I just was going through and saying, you know, here, this is
I'm sure that
for
the
this
company...
you know, for this area, and what was covered into there. And I know after the specifics and really narrowing it down, once the approval came through, the logistics of everything being ironed out in the next day or so, or
Yeah.
whenever, was going to be done.
I know most of those companies will, obviously, you know, the contents of the truck are insured. I just wasn't sure with the actual moving the equipment and, you know, that type of stuff, but, all right, well, thank you so much.
Yep.
Just I'm sorry, through the chair. Go ahead. I apologize.
Oh, I just want to say that I have friends that have contacted me about this, and then I have friends, I'm friends of the family, and so I wasn't sure if it was the same thing that they were talking about, but the equipment's in like almost new condition, so that's the feedback I've gotten. So from what I've heard of what kind of equipment, it's pretty top-notch equipment.
Yes, it's, all of the plates are rubber coated. They're actually Gold's Gym, which is like top of the line. Even from the plates alone, you're probably looking at probably $100,000 just in plates alone to be able to kind of expand upon, you know, for the future, and even looking into definitely, you know, down the road, but something that we can be proud of, and it's a step in the right direction, so.
It's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Mr. Levis?
I was just going to add to Mr. Estheimer's comment that there is carrier liability mentioned here as well, so
Third one.
at 60 cents a pound, I don't know.
Third one from the bottom.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, third
Yep.
one from the bottom.
Yep.
Oh, perfect, okay.
So we should be all set. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right. We'll bring the discussion back up to the table, and I'll entertain a motion on action item number 4.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of services from Allied Van Lines to move weight room equipment not to exceed $10,540.
Since I'm a volunteer coach and I'm involved and know a little bit about this situation. However, I think this benefits the entire school district, and it's not exclusive for football, even though the head football coach, you know, pursued this with the superintendent. So I would like to stay in this discussion and vote on this unless there's anybody who thinks that I'm crossing the line and I should abstain. I will cede to the will of my colleagues.
Is there anybody who thinks Mr. Green needs to abstain? No. We see no conflict of interest for you here, so
Thank you.
we'd love you to participate in it. Any other discussion items?
I shall follow up, Mr. President.
Mr. Green?
This is a gold mine. This is an absolute gold mine for someone. I can't help it. I'm sitting there trying to bite my tongue, thinking of the Batman movie. And he says, "Are you Batman or Bruce Wayne?" I'm both. So I am a football coach, and I'm telling you, we've for 2.5 years, Coach Dobeck, Miss Pastor knows me. Other sports coaches have been involved. The gym teachers to look for something that would work for us. And this stuff. Mr. Friedrich just wrote me a note and said, do we have room for all this? In the one high school, probably not, but it can go into Davison and everything else. I mean, this is a home run for a weight room for our kids and for the students here. So, like, I'm ecstatic now that I can say that. So, obviously, I support it.
Okay. I'm also going to be in support of this motion. I want to ask administration, please, can you guys put together an inventory list for us when you do actually get in there and get on it? Can we get an inventory of what we have?
Might take us some time.
That's fine.
Put it on Dobeck. Dobeck, you're in charge.
If we can just, that's one of the things I'm going to ask is.
Actually, I do think what they are going to do, and I can ask them, once they're putting together a list that they inventory, because the way that the gentleman that, him and I in conversation were talking about that wherever we were going to put the stuff, they were going to color code it by stickers so that it went into the same truck so that we would have exactly what
So you knew what was going where?
what was going where,
Yeah.
and to have that, but we will inventory it to see. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
weekend.
I assume it is.
Good job.
It's
Well, but I
quite a
mean,
bit.
And
know,
it's
you
months
say-
of work. It's months of work.
It's gonna
Sean-
be-
Sean Sage has my personal cell phone. He calls, he emails. He's been months. He is so excited about this as well, and he is doing an event tonight, so he couldn't be here for his charity, Strength for a Cause, but he really is so excited and is looking forward to us saying yes to this.
Yes.
Mr. President or Miss Pastor, I don't know who, I definitely think that Coach Dobeck doesn't have enough time in his hands. He can itemize these things, so just let's.
Summer's right around the corner, man.
Okay, let me know when you have the list, sir.
I
Excuse
will
me.
do that.
We'll
I
inquire.
do have one thing to say. We do need to have an inventory listing for June 30 if we take delivery before then. We have to, I'm sorry, it has to go
That's
to
the way
our
I was
fixed
looking at it.
asset.
But
It's like
doesn't
we
he
need to
have
know.
that?
Yeah,
Doesn't he
it
have
has
See,
to
that's
go
the
into
way I
our
was
fixed
looking at it, is
assets.
we need to know what we're getting. I mean, I don't have a problem approving this, and I mean, I think pennies to dollars, we're winning all around here. But we do need to know what we got.
Fixed asset
And,
list.
yeah, and say, hey, this is what we took, and these are our assets that we have, and.
I think the other coaches could help, and most of your
There you go.
assistant coaches can help.
No, it's not a, it's not a task that I don't think can be met. I think that's the process that we would like to see what we get anyway, because,
Right.
yeah,
I would assume there's some type of invoice that has to list everything, from the point of ship to receive, so.
yes, and that's the thing, it's like just by, you walk in there into a 15,000 square foot area and you just realize the magnitude of everything that is there. It would be great to have a thing, that's a conversation down the road, but seeing that it does get overwhelming, but it's not, it's for a good cause, and having something and being able to keep it in good condition, I think, and that's something that Sean and I have talked about numerous times, that once we do get the equipment, that keeping it, up to par, to be able to figure out where all of this is going to, where we can fit upstairs, where we can fit into the field house. So like, this is gonna be the domino effect for everything kind of going forward. As once we get the okay on that, then everything will be. And if I have to provide reports, I don't care with that, because it's,
Well, I mean.
it's something that, again, it wasn't looked at as a football thing, it was looked at for something
Yeah,
that
this-
Southgate Community Schools could have and be proud of. And I think it's something that could possibly draw students in too, to seeing exactly what we're able to have, and something that we can market to, say it puts us right up there with all the rest of them downriver as to a weight facility that, we can't necessarily pass on, so.
Right. Yeah, and one of my, again, with the inventory issue is if we do have some that go into surplus, we have to keep an idea of what we have in that surplus. So if something does break, we're not going out and replacing it with something new. Because you may be gone by the time it breaks, and everybody here may be gone by the time it breaks,
I
so.
hope not.
Well.
I know.
So you say, okay, hey, we have this in inventory, we can just pull it back out, or parts and pieces, or whatever, so.
Mr.
Absolutely.
Hestheimer, there might be a football helmet in there.
Yeah, let's see.
Thanks, Mr. Green, for that one.
Dr. Pomponia.
I have one more question through the conversation. So when you're picking up the equipment, and there's a lot of equipment, and it's going into these buses or semi-trucks, do you know for sure what space we have when you bring it, and where, are you gonna have that, all that figured out when you get the equipment? Because, then we'll have to pay for rental to store all the stuff.
So Jacob has secured some storage space at the warehouse if we need it, that we know that if we put it in storage, it won't be used, so our goal is to use it, and this might be an opportunity in June for us, as we're looking at a bond, to think about all the wasted space where that pool currently is, and what a phenomenal white room that could be if we decided to, redo something. If we weren't gonna do a pool, that's a lot of space in a building that we're not currently using. That would make a phenomenal white room area. So just some things to look at and talk about in the future. So,
Charge membership fees if it's that.
Mr. Freitas.
So those 2 months of eating at Buffalo Wild Wings, we got our money's well spent out of this?
I'm glad to say
Sounds
that
like a setup.
the $10,000 that was raised turned into $500,000, so it was definitely worth it, that being a little bit patient and kind of holding off and waiting, that we hit the lotto when it came to weight equipment, so.
That's good, because I have not eaten at Buffalo Wild Wings.
they have a new cheeseburger.
And I like to eat, look at my stomach, but I am not one pack.
All right, any further discussion on the item? All right, we have a
Thank you.
motion by Mr. Lamas, it was supported by Mr. Estheimer, and so we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Good luck finding room for everything. then.
Thanks for your work on that.
I think you should start the inventory right now.
right.
So we make sure we have it.
Action item number 5 is employee recall.
You're being asked to approve the recall of previously laid-off employee number 100662.
Okay.
Okay,
Any questions for staff on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring the discussion back to the table, and I'll entertain a motion on action item number 5.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the recall of laid-off employee number 100662 to be effective immediately.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion on this item?
To the chair.
Mr. Lums?
Ms. Pastor, so in terms of this, the position, which is a counselor's position, is that correct?
That's correct.
Are there any special skills? Is that what the purpose for the extra accreditation this person is going to chase down?
So, what will happen is the state will issue us I probably should let Jerry answer, but
The counseling endorsement.
Thank you. And one more question. Are there any, to do the job properly, you have to have some skills and understanding. Is there any reason to think that this person won't be able to fulfill those until the end of that 3 years, or will they be effective immediately, or close to it?
no, so I think there'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but I think that she will do a remarkable job with students. She builds good relationships with students. She's been in the district about 17 years. She knows the district, and when we didn't have a position for her, she was the first person I thought of for this particular position, so.
Thank you very much.
And we don't have any other teachers in the district who carry a counseling endorsement?
All the with the exception of 2 district employees, all of the employees who have the counseling endorsement are currently in counseling positions. The 2 that don't, one of them is the teacher who vacated this position to take another position, and the other is actually a building principal who's not part of this bargaining unit, has expressed no interest in going back to counseling.
Okay, very good. All right, bring the discussion back to the table, and so we already have a motion and support. All right, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, action item number 6, Wayne Risa designation of electoral representative and the candidates to receive the vote.
So I'm excited that Mr. Green will be reading this. Per Public Acts 233 and 419 of 2004, local districts must designate at a public meeting a representative and an alternate who will vote in the ISD elections on behalf of our board. There are 2 candidates for 2 openings. Their biographies were included in your packets.
Any questions for staff?
So last year, it was Dr. Pomponio and Mr. Estimer was the alternate. So,
Stay that way, or did?
that's right.
Somehow along the way, I lost control of these big emotions.
Now you're in full control.
Here we go.
Well
Did you
read.
step up, or did the others step back?
I don't know.
I nudged him.
Mr. President,
Mr. Green?
per Public Act 223, oh no, that's not me. Whereas the biennial election of the Board of the Wayne County Regional Educational Service Agency, RISA, WRISA, will be held on Monday, June 3rd, 2019, and the member of the WRISA Board will be elected by an electoral body composed of 1 person designated by the board of each of the constituent school districts, and in accordance with Section 380.614, subsection 2 of the revised school code, this board must now adopt a resolution which designates its representative to the electoral body and directs said representative to vote on behalf of the school board for the specific candidates this board supports for each position to be filled on the WRISA board, at least on the first ballot taken by the electoral body. Now therefore be it resolved that this board does hereby approve the designation of Dr. Darlene Pomponio as the representative of this board for the electoral body, and Mr. Timothy Estimer as the designated representative is further directed to cast a vote on the first ballot on behalf of the board for candidates James Berry and for candidate Linda Jackson. All resolutions and part of the resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of the resolutions B and the same are hereby rescinded.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Green. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Dr. Pomponio. Any discussion on the item?
I just want to say, these two people are well-deserved. I've worked with them for almost 10 years.
Pomponio.
I just want to say congratulations to the girls' tennis team. Today was their last game, and they did a phenomenal job, so thank you.
Oh, that's early.
Mr. Estheimer.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out to our recent fundraiser, the Have a Heart Gala. I want to thank the committee and our superintendent for all her help.
Go ahead, sir.
Well,
You're doing a great job.
I don't have all the details, but we raised a lot of money. The purpose of this event was for supporting our students. We have some things planned. What are some of the things we're doing?
So we're doing grants. So for example, classroom grants, grade level grants, building grants, sports teams grants, and we're doing 2 school scholarships
Yeah,
in
that's what
2020.
Okay. So thank you so much for those who have contributed in forms of gift baskets, gift certificates, any type of donation, donated their time, or actually attended the gala. The students that participated, we were entertained by the jazz band, which were phenomenal. We had the drama club there performing a little scene from their play that they're in this weekend and next, The Wizard of Oz.
We had
And
robotics.
yeah, the robotics had a demo.
JROTC, and the choir.
Yeah, JROTC and choir. Outstanding event, and I'm looking forward to it next year. Thank you.
So we're estimating right around 30,000, so we're pretty excited. We have a meeting tomorrow. We're going to choose a date for next year and start the planning, so,
Thanks for all your help.
thank you.
Okay. Dr. Pomponio.
I just have one more announcement. In the Park and Rec Commission meeting, we had a sample of what the banner looks like for the Trenton Road area, because we're working on the dog park over there, and the banners are art from our students. So if you take a look at the new banners that go up, the art pieces on those banners, that's from our students. They were selected from our students. Thank
good.
you.
Okay. Seeing no other information or announcements, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Estheimer, supported by Mr. Green. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.